Set 18 is just 2 days away, and after nearly a month of PvE, hundreds of balance changes, an entirely new mechanic, and Riot literally moving TFT to a different engine, we're finally almost ready to play the actual set. So today, I'm going to give you everything you actually need to know before Set 18 goes live. We're talking new mechanic, the traits you need to know, some of the champions you should be watching, the biggest changes coming to the game, and of course, the stuff that is probably going to be absolutely broken on day one. Welcome back to TFT Weekly. Set 18 Enchanted Wilds goes live on August 26th, and unlike a normal set launch, this one is a pretty big deal for another reason. Because TFT is moving to Unreal Engine. Riot has been running an extended 4-week PvE specifically because this is the first set being built on Unreal. And Riot has already warned us that there could be more bugs than usual when the set arrives. So if you're planning on jumping into Ranked immediately on Wednesday, maybe don't be surprised when your shop or any of your UI tends to just glitch out for no reason. But before we get into all of that, let's start with the biggest new mechanic. If you played Set 12, you might remember Charms. Well, they're back. Sort of. Except this time they're called WISPS. WISPs appear in every other shop and act as a temporary, single-use effect that can give you things such as gold, XP, combat power, items, champions, or sometimes even some riskier rewards. And there are a couple really important changes from the old charm system. First, WISPs can only be purchased during the planning phase. If you don't buy one, it disappears and reveals the champion that was hiding underneath it, so you're not sacrificing an entire shop slot just because Riot decided to add this new mechanic. Second, WISPs are divided into 7 different categories: champion, combat, miscellaneous, shop, golden XP, risky, and item. That means when you're rolling down, you actually have a much easier time understanding what kind of WISP you're looking for. And probably the biggest quality of life change, after stage 5, every other WISP is guaranteed to be a combat WISP. So, unlike in Set 12, where you could spend half of your gold looking for a charm you actually needed, late game WISPs are going to be much more reliable. And if you're playing Blossom, things get a little crazy. Blossom is basically the trait for people who looked at WISPs and thought, yeah, I want to use those more. The trait has breakpoints at 3, 5, 7, 9, and finally 11. At 3, your WISPs are upgraded. At 5, they appear in every shop. At 7, buying a WISP gives you gold. At 9, you can buy 2 WISPs per round. And at 11, well, let's just say it's really, really broken. Blossom also gives its champions AD, AP, and max health. So this isn't just an economy trait, you can actually build around it. And there's some pretty interesting units inside of Blossom too. Ahri is back as a 4-cost, and she drops nukes on the board. Then you've got Set, who is basically a giant healing wall that gets a massive mana injection when he drops below a certain HP threshold. So if you're somebody who likes watching one unit refuse to die, then Set might be your guy. Now, I'm not going to sit here and read every single trait tooltip because I would like to actually, well, finish this video. So instead, here are the traits I think you should understand before you start playing. Rift Beast is by far one of the biggest origins of this set. You get creatures from Summoner's Rift such as Gromp, Krug, Scuttle Crab, Merkwolf, and eventually the big boy Elder Dragon. The big mechanic here is the Alpha Mark. You choose one Rift Beast and give it a unique buff. At higher breakpoints, Rift Beasts can flood your shop and eventually start scaling throughout combat. And at 10 Rift Beast, you get 1 additional team slot, so the jungle is literally invading TFT. Next up, we have Coven. Coven is the high-risk, high-reward economy trait. You gather essence by killing champions and losing combats. Then you can cash that essence out for rewards. The interesting part is that losing doesn't completely destroy your strategy either, so you can actually play around a loss streak while still progressing toward your eventual payout. Basically, lose now, become a problem later. That's some classic TFT right there. Elderwood is the summoning trait where you get placeable Elderwood plants that you can put anywhere on your board. Plants gain max HP and ability power per Elderwood star level, so if you want to play Xayah reroll, that exists. At 3 Elderwood, you get a Stonebark Tree and a Life Bloom. At 5, you get a second Stonebark Tree. At 7, you get a Deep Wood Protector, aka Daisy. At 9, all the plants star up to level 2. And at 11, aka the Prismatic for this trait, you get 3-star plants. So if you want to see 3-star Daisy, play Elderwood. Play it. And then we have Sprykin, which is basically, what if I put a Yordle on a giant furry Yeti? The rider gets a massive amount of health and attack speed from the big furry friend, and at higher breakpoints, part of those bonuses spread to the rest of your team as well. And yes, Teemo exists this set. And Teemo can literally forage for mushrooms that give you things such as rerolls, XP, and even tactician health. So obviously, Teemo is going to be committing several war crimes this set. Last up, we have Blackthorn, which is probably one of the most interesting traits mechanically because you literally sacrifice your own units. At Combat Star, a unit standing on the Blackthorn Hex can be sacrificed to your Blackthorn units, additional stats based on the sacrificed unit's roll, cost, and star level. And at 6 Blackthorn, you don't sacrifice the unit anymore. Instead, the unit gets the bonuses itself and obviously stays on the board. So yes, TFT has officially reached the point where murdering your own team is, well, a legitimate strategy. I could be wrong at the time of recording. I do not know. It may have changed. All right, say hi to the camera. Say hi. Can you do the next section, please? No? Okay. So now let's talk about some of the units I will personally be keeping an eye on. Nidalee. Nidalee is an adapter, meaning her ability changes depending on whether you're building AD or you're building AP. If you build AP, she becomes a ranged magic damage carry, throwing spears all over the board. Building AD, and she gets into full Cougar mode, just like in Summoner's Rift, she can transform. And she can leap onto targets after killing enemies, so she just hops around like a bunny rabbit. So this is one of those champions where your items are going to completely change how you play the game. Next up, we have Ivern. Ivern is one of the coolest units this entire set. His Greenfather trait lets him literally grow your board. As he casts, he creates different biomes that produce different hexes, giving you health, armor and magic resistance, mana regen, attack speed, damage amp, and eventually you create the God Willow in the center of the board. So Ivern isn't just another unit to throw in the back corner, he's basically building your battlefield for you. And then there's Lux, because apparently Riot decided one trait was just not enough. Lux is like, well, the Avatar, and she can represent different origins. Depending on which origin she represents, her laser gets a different effect, I think. She can stun, reduce resistances, increase damage, heal allies, restore mana, increase attack speed, apply vulnerable. Basically, Lux is a Swiss Army knife of TFT. And because she can splash an origin into your board, she's probably going to be one of the most interesting late game units to watch out for. And speaking of late game, set 18 is also going to give us something set 17 was desperately missing. Good 5-cost tanks. Maokai and Taric are both 5-cost frontliners. Maokai is the massive HP tank who gets stronger as enemies die around him. Taric is more of a protective tank who can pair with another ally and create shields for the whole team. This is something I'm particularly happy to see because set 17 5-cost frontline options were, let's just say, non-existent. But honestly, the biggest thing you need to know about set 18 isn't even a champion or let alone a trait. It's this. TFT is moving to Unreal Engine. Starting with Set 18, TFT is leaving Hextech for good and moving to Unreal Engine 5. Riot says this isn't supposed to fundamentally change how TFT plays. The reason they're doing this is for the long-term future of the game itself. But that doesn't mean launch day is going to be perfect. Riot has explicitly said they expect more bugs with the first Unreal set. The initial download is also going to be larger, your preferred settings will all be reset, your cosmetics will be transferred, but not every cosmetic will be immediately available at launch. And there's even going to be a period where you can use cosmetics you don't actually own while Riot finishes moving everything over. Oh, and you know that minimap in the bottom right corner? Yeah, that's not going to be there anymore, which sounds like a tiny change until you realize that people have been using it socially to go to other people's boards for years. I tend to just click on portraits now, but you get the idea. So what actually changed on this final PvE pass? The important thing is, not much really changed, and that's actually a good thing. The August 19th patch was intentionally a smaller tuning phase, focused primarily on small buffs and augment adjustments. Riot's stated goal is basically to not mess up anything a few days before launch. The PvE meta had stabilized over the previous week, so instead of making another massive balance sweep, the team made smaller adjustments and said they would reassess early this week for the last second changes. So if you're looking at the current PvE and thinking, surely this entire meta is going to change right before launch, I wouldn't count on it. There can still be last second changes, especially if something breaks between now and right before launch, but we're basically at the point where Riot is trying to lock this thing in before it goes live. So what should you actually look for when Set 18 launches? Number one, I would say WISPS. This mechanic is going to create a ridiculous amount of variance. Number two would be Blossom, as it is a very good economy trait. It involves scaling combat power, and it just improves your WISPs overall. Number three, Ahri. She's been one of the units people have been keeping an eye on during the PvE, and even with the most recent balance changes, she hasn't been nerfed that much and is actually kinda broken. Number four, artifacts and emblems. Riot specifically identified the power and frequency of these systems as one of their larger concerns during the PvE updates. And number five, there's obviously bugs. Because this is the first set on Unreal, Riot has been very transparent. The bugs are going to be a bigger concern than usual. So if you load into your first game on Wednesday and your board starts doing something that absolutely shouldn't, don't immediately assume that you discover the next Exodia comp. You might have just found a bug like everybody else. And that's basically everything you actually need to know before Set 18. We've got Wisps, we've got giant jungle monsters, we've got plants building our board, we have Lux becoming every trait possible, we've got Teemo committing terrorism, and we've got Riot moving the entire game to Unreal Engine. So, what could possibly go wrong? Set 18 launches Wednesday, August 26th. I'll be playing it, testing it, and probably losing my mind, like always. And if Riot accidentally creates a 100% win rate comp on launch day, you already know I will be talking about it. I'm Fuzzy, this has been TFT Weekly, and I will see all of you next week. If you made it to the end of the video, I am so happy you are here and you watched the whole thing. Maybe you didn't, maybe you skipped, but I don't know. I've been working on TFT Weekly for roughly over a month now, and honestly, I don't even know where to begin. This has been a crazy journey already. I know it's not as big as I want it to be, and obviously things take time. But for those of you that are here and sticking around with me on this journey, I really appreciate all of you. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. These take forever to make, and honestly, I'm working day in and day out to get this stuff done for you guys, so I would really appreciate all the support. But with that being said, I'm gonna go. I'm going to stream later tonight, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, night, or wherever you are in the world. Bye-bye.